So, very good evening to every one of you present here. Uh, Welcome, Murni ma'am, Arpita ma'am, Vinita Singh ma'am, Raisa ma'am, Pooja ma'am, Nidhi Vyas ma'am, and Janvi Ekpat, brother. So, warm welcome to today's session. We'll start off in the next 5 minutes. Welcome, Chandana ma'am, and Asha ma'am. So, people are pouring in. Um, Welcome, Ashwini sir, Anand Bhagwan Chandra. So, Simran ma'am, Ashwini Sanjay. So, welcome, Gauri ma'am. So, we all gearing up for today's session. We'll start off by 17:05. Till then, I request you all to wait in the meeting room. Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. And it's with great enthusiasm that I welcome you all to Oxford Advantage webinar led by the product and editorial teams of the academic year 2025-26. Today, we are focusing on Oxford Advantage for classes 6 to 8. Today's session is an opportunity to explore innovative and engaging learning methodologies that supplement the learning provided by NCERT by enriching the content, process, and delivery methodologies, thus making the learning process more immersive, meaningful for students. To guide us through this enriching discussion, we are privileged to have two esteemed facilitators whose expertise in curriculum development and integrated learning strategies is truly inspiring. So, before introducing them, here are a few housekeeping norms that we will all follow. Everyone apart from the presenters are on mute, and this is being a webinar platform. Cameras are switched off too. This is done to keep distractions to the minimum. If you have any query, I repeat, if you have any query, it is highly recommended that you make a note of it in your notebook. There is a high possibility that the query will get resolved as we go through the session. If not resolved, at the end of the session, please put it up in the Q&A section and our facilitators will pick it up and respond. We are trying to maintain very high quality of connectivity. However, just in case any issue occurs, we will keep you updated on the corrective measures that we are taking. If you find disturbances in audio or video at your end, please log out and log in back. This usually resolves the issue. At the end of the webinar, you will receive a feedback link. Kindly take 5 minutes to fill the feedback form. Once submitted, you will receive your certificate of participation in your inbox of your email. However, attendance of a minimum duration of 60 minutes is essential for the certificate to get generated. If you face any issue, please drop in a message in the Oxford Advantage WhatsApp group or speak to the manager academic excellence assigned to your school. Let's move on now and let's get introduced to the facilitators for today. Miss Aarti Malhotra is an accomplished academic with degrees in physics and Master of Technology on solid state materials from St. Stephen's College, IIT Roorkee, and IIT Delhi. With over 9 years of experience in content development and editing, Aarti has worked extensively in e-learning innovations, including 3D animations, simulations, virtual reality, and HoloLens technology at eminent organizations. She later transitioned into publishing and is currently a senior editor of Science at Oxford University Press, and Oxford Advantage. Joining her is Ms. Sareba Kasar, a dedicated professional with extensive expertise in English language teaching and content development. Sareba holds both graduate and PG degrees in English from prestigious institutions like Lady Shri Ram College and Delhi University. With over 8 years of experience in digital and print publishing, she has contributed significantly to renowned publishing organizations. Currently, serving as the content manager for the English curriculum at Oxford Advantage, she plays a pivotal role in developing effective and engaging content that enriches the learning experiences of the students. Her deep understanding of making English learning more accessible and impactful. Beyond her professional endeavors, Sareba is an avid reader, a film enthusiast, and enjoys exploring mountains, embodying a spirit of curiosity and lifelong learning. We hope this session will not only provide valuable insights, but also equip educators with practical strategies to implement in their classrooms. So, welcome again to all the facilitators and all the participants today, and we can start now. So, over to you. Sareba and Ati.
Thanks a lot, Preetham, for that introduction. And a very good evening to all the teachers who have joined us today. It's just the beginning of the week. It's Monday. Everyone's having Monday blues. I hope you're not. Thank you for choosing to spend this evening with us and hope it will be fulfilling. So, in today's session of our Oxford Advantage webinar series, we will be covering grades 6 to 8, our books from grades 6 to 8. Without any further ado, I will be sharing my screen. Um, just give us a moment. Right. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Welcome again to today's session. Before we dive in to the session, we want a small, ice-breaking activity. We have some simple questions, and we encourage all of you to please type in the answers in the chat box. It will be lovely to see the responses. Um, our first question for you: what is your favorite way to relax after a long school day? If you can just type in your responses on the chat box. We're also curious, what do you do to relax and unwind after a long day? Can we have some responses? Okay, we have started getting some responses. Jasveen says to take a quick nap. Yes, I think that's a very good way to relax. Anyone else? Again, okay. I really encourage all the teachers to please respond. It's just it'll be nice to have an interactive session using phone and, of course, taking a short nap again, music, spending time on phone, music. Right. So through different ways. So good to know. Thank you so much for sharing this information with us. Our next question is Preeti ma'am said singing. Um, our next question is, if your teaching style were a movie genre, what would it be? So, for example, a drama, action, comedy. This is the second question. If you had to give your teaching style, classify it as a genre, right? So, how would you describe it? What would you call it? Just waiting for some responses to the second question. Thank you so much to those who have responded to the first question. Comedy. Okay. Do we have any more responses? Drama for sure. I can see a lot of drama in the responses. Drama is good. I think, not all days can be, good. I think, it should be a mix of all different genres: action, comedy, drama, everything. Akshay said all three. Very good. It should be a mix of a good balance of all days. Right. Thank you so much to the lovely teachers who've responded. Good to know that, your teaching style and days in office are full of action, comedy, and drama. Right. So, let's start with the session without any further ado. Right. So Oxford Advantage is what we call an integrated product, right? What makes Oxford Advantage an integrated product? So it's an integration of different things like print and digital, right? So it's a comprehensive suite of different features and offering. So we have a curriculum content which includes the print and digital. So the print component has your workbooks and teacher manuals, and digital obviously are learning management system or the LMS, and both go hand in hand in teaching the students. Then a digital platform for both school and home, separate access. Then we have lesson plans so that you can plan your lessons and incorporate them into your classroom. We have assessments, part of then school support services, teacher training, professional programs and professional development, and reports for both for all teachers, parents, students, more importantly, and overall for the school. This is the full array of services that we provide as part of Oxford Advantage. Right. So, what is our approach for the middle grades, which is 6 to 8? We have in our print offering, like I had just mentioned, we have our workbooks and our teacher manuals. How have we structured them? Our workbooks are based on the concepts. These are surround or support material for the concepts taught in the NCERT books. So the same concepts that are covered in the NCERT books, we provide more explanation and extra practice on those concepts. That's why we called our books NCERT Surround Workbooks. So what does it do? It allows learners to go explore beyond NCERT. So they already have their NCERT books with them. We give them some additional like ways to expand their knowledge on the same concept, right? So that they can move beyond, not just practice the concepts that are outlined in NCERT, but go beyond them. Offer a variety of exercises. We've carefully selected different kinds of questions and exercises for assessment. Uh, Establish cross-curricular connect. This is one of our features in our workbook. I will build more on this in a short while. But for holistic development of the students, we go beyond just what is there in the text and connect it to other subjects for a more holistic way of learning. Ensures that values are incorporated. So, along again, as part of a holistic development of a child, moving beyond the curriculum, we have also given questions or activities that incorporates some sort of value education also happens through those activities and question. It is followed by self-assessment. We know how important that is. After a chapter ends, there is a section on self-assessment called I Can, where the child can fill in the details about which concept is clear to them there and which is not, which you can then use for remediation. Um, the last point, classification of questions according to the Bloom's taxonomy. This Bloom's taxonomy plays a very, very prominent role in our pedagogy in 6 to 8. All our questions, activities, they're all tagged to the different levels of the Bloom's taxonomy recommends. Moving on. What are the course components in our 6 to 8 offering? Just delving into more detail, as I had mentioned, we have workbooks and teachers' manuals. The subjects that we have are English, mathematics, science, and social sciences. So we have workbooks and teachers' manuals for all these subjects. On the digital front, we have our LMS, where you can access different types of digital resources. We have our ebook, which the PDFs of the books available. Then detailed, chapter and concept plans that you can access online. Learning tools, different learning tools, such as online dictionary, atlas, and our signature feature, I would say, in our 6 to 8 LMS offering is what we call PAL, Personalized Adaptive Learning. What is PAL? We will go into the details very, very soon, but this is a method of assessment and remediation. It's an interactive way of, to do any kind of remediation for subjects that need more help. Then You can also access the same lesson plans digitally from the LMS. And we have different apps for teachers, students, and parents, along with teacher training and professional development programs that are offered by our support services. I'd like to spend some time on this particular slide. So, as teachers, you already know the process. You know, how do you, what does a class, period look like? You first plan your lesson, right? You first do things to plan. First, you make a skeleton of, let's say, of what you want to cover each day. You make a plan, and then you teach, assess, and review. I would like to spend some time on each of these elements here. How do you how can you plan for your lesson? So we have various features, both print and digital, that you can use to plan. So we have the concept plans, obviously the lesson plans, and the chapter plans that are based on the important concepts taken from the NCERT. You have different learning resources. We have the workbook. We have the question bank on the LMS, teacher's manual, atlas, and online dictionary. You can use all of these resources to plan your lesson. Moving on to the teaching phase of your lesson, you can use the workbooks, then with all its different features. There is the worksheet, cross curricular connect, values. You can use the learning resources like videos and animations, which are based on the concepts, on the relevant concepts, and along with it, games and interactivities based on those concepts, right? You can the things that I mentioned before, the chapter plans, workbook, question bank. You can use all of this, and obviously you can use all of this to teach as well, not only to plan. The same things you can use to teach during the lesson. Then after the teaching phase is the assessment. Have they understood what what they've learned? How do we measure that? So for that, we have question banks, comprehensive questions in the question bank. We have the test generator, and what I said, and PAL, as I had mentioned earlier, the personalized adaptive learning app for for tests and remediation. After that, there is review and remedy. After identifying the weaker areas, after the assessment, once you have identified the areas on which they need more practice, we move to the review and remediation phase. Here you can address the learning gaps through the feedback that you get from PAL. How to use PAL, we will come to it. We will we'll show you properly how the PAL feature or the platform can be used. You can use that to assess, then access those learning gaps, and then through feedback and test, you can address those learning gaps, and then you get detailed reports for it, reports and analytics for it. So this is the phase. These are the different ways in which you can plan your entire, for all your periods, or a particular concept. You plan using these tools that we offer. You can teach using the same tools and all the other tools that you have at your disposal in the form of the print book and digitally, of course. Then you, and for to assess and review, you can use the PAL software. Right. So before I move on to the next part, just want to get some insights from teachers, because um, for us, we just make the lesson plans and share it as suggestions, but it is you guys who are actually implementing it in the classroom. So just for our insight and to just to understand, we want to ask a few questions. On which stage, it could be the stages that we have just shown, or it could be a stage that you implement in the classroom. So on which stage do you spend the most time in? Could I have some responses? It could be planning, it could be teaching, it could be any other stage that you implement in the classroom or use in the classroom. On which do you spend the most time, or on which, or let's say, which which takes the most amount of time? Okay, Dipali ma'am says teaching and experimenting. All right. Waiting for just a couple of more responses. Explanation. Okay. Vinita ma'am. Planning and notes making. Very, very important. Yes. Right. I think so. We can, make a safe guess here that, the concept clearance. Right. Teaching and learning activities. Maheshwari ma'am says. Okay, so I think we can conclude that the teaching itself, giving example of daily life, that could be, yes, I think that could be challenging. Yes, clarity of concept. Good evening, Alpa. Concept. So I think it's more or less clear that teaching, the main teaching part, right? How you use those methodologies to teach the concept in the classroom, I this is what I can understand, that takes, the most amount of time, the teaching of the concept itself. Thank you so much for your responses. Now, related to that, the next part of this question is, which stage gets the least time? If those teachers who answered can answer this also, we have understood that, teaching itself, the concept itself takes the most amount of time. On which stage do you think takes the least amount of time? That do you take the least amount of time? Could I have some responses? Okay, Dipali ma'am says introduction. Okay. Concept clearance after spending more time on planning and notes. Okay, all right. Because if you have the teaching, the notes planned, I think it becomes a little easier to teach. Thank you, Akshay, for your response. Right, I think, okay, thank you so much for your response. And related to that, my next part is, do you think your current time distribution is optimal? The time that, on the phase that you are giving the most time right now, do you think that distribution is fine, and why? Or do you not agree that, this is not the right distribution, this stage should get more time? You could answer by just simple yes or no also. Do you think the current, time distribution that you follow in the classroom for these, all these different uh, stages, is it optimal? I am guessing yes, because we haven't received any responses so far. Right, because, all right. So, what I gathered from here is that teaching of the concept um, takes the most amount of time, and it should be given the most amount of time. Yeah, we need to finish them in time and revise it. Right, so agreed. I think everyone is agreed that the teaching stage does require the most amount of time. Right. Okay. Thank you so much for all your responses, Radhika, Anand, Pali ma'am. Right. So moving on. So what I will do now is focusing on the print aspect of our books again. I will now take you through take you through the features of the workbook. What is the structure of the workbook, what comes after what, how can you use that part in the classroom, just an overview of all the elements that are there in one workbook chapter. I'll be taking you through it. Okay, so it starts with the on the first page you will straight away find the learning outcomes. So these learning outcomes are based on the concepts that are there that you will find in the NCERT books, right? So we have mapped all the learning outcomes with the concepts that are covered. So you will first, in the learning outcome list, you will find an extensive list of the learning outcomes, and then you will find the section called the big idea. What is the big idea? As the name suggests, it's the main topic, let's say, or main point, main concept that kind of encompasses the whole chapter. So we have to kind of generate to give a quick overview of what the chapter questions will be about. We give this section called big idea, where the overall idea or the concept is listed. So this is the first beginning part of the workbook. After the chapter, all the learning outcomes are listed, and along with the learning outcomes, the main concept is laid out. Then after that, we have this section called Let's Practice. Why do we call it Let's Practice straight away? Because these are all concepts that they have already covered in the NCERT books, right? So here they are practicing those concepts. This is extra practice. So what is there under Let's Practice? You will first find the concept. So these are concepts taken from the NCERT books, and we have given, covered the same concepts and given additional information. So under concepts, you'll find the NCERT concepts, and then we have a section called recall. So recall has basically all the topics and subtopics that are there in the NCERT books. So say the concept is urban settlements people, and then all the topics and subtopics that are covered in the NCERT book, you'll find a list, the curriculum listed here in points format for easy understanding, remembering, and absorption. So all the key points from those particular sections are mentioned and summarized here. So this is basically your, let's say, the content, the text part, where there will be all the reading part. This is the recall section, where they are recalling what they have read and understood in the NCERT books. Then the next part of Let's Practice is the worksheets. So after they have read the concepts again in the Let's Recall section, this is the next is the worksheet section. So we have given several worksheets that cover different types of questions. So you have objective type questions, you have subjective type questions, you have HOTS questions, LOTS questions, short answer questions, long answer questions, and questions of different marks. Like, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different kinds. We have tried to cater to give as many types of questions as possible. What right, so here you can see some science and maths screenshots of 1 marks. There are 4 marks questions also. So we've given different types of questions for each topic here. So first they recall the concept, and then after recalling, they attempt worksheets on that particular concept. Right. So I'm sure all of you have heard of Bloom's taxonomy. Looking at the chart, just a few, questions. What we all know that Bloom's taxonomy has these levels, right? There is remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. And so I would like to ask at this point, say for example, there is a question where they have to create something new, like write a detailed answer or something, or create something in a new format, right? So which level of Bloom's taxonomy will does it apply to? You can look at the screen and just write on the chat box. Say they have to create something completely new. So which level does those kind of question come under? You can write, you can name it also, you can write level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 also. Could I have some responses? Remembering, I'm going to repeat my question. This is a question where they have to create something completely new. Say, for example, I'll give you, uh, letter writing. You have just given the question and you have to ask, write a letter following the format. So, what kind of level, which does it come under? I think most of you have said level 6, which is creating, which is absolutely correct. That is creating because you're taking a concept, you've understood a concept, and using that concept, you're creating something completely new. So this comes under level 6, which is creating. Right. Another small question, follow up question. Um, what if a question asks them to explain something, for example, explain photosynthesis, right? How do you, they have to explain a concept, so which level will that come under? Can we get some responses? They have to explain a concept, like explain this. Radhika ma'am is at level 2. Can we have just a couple of more responses? So, yeah, that is the correct answer. Where you have to explain something, it comes under level 2, which is understanding. Thank you so much for your responses. So, yes, remembering is basically level 1, where you have to recall basic facts. What is this? Who said this? Basic facts and concepts. When you further build on it, the next level of cognitive understanding, which is explain something, that comes under understanding. Now, applying is when you use the new information to solve something, some problem solving questions. You answer questions using, information in new situations, right? You have understood the concept now. Now you have to use that concept and apply it in a new situation. Then comes analyzing, where cause and effect, relationship questions, called making connections between two things or several. So that comes under analyzing. Evaluating questions are mostly where you have to justify something, prove something, a particular position. And then, of course, the last is where they have to write something completely new, that is creating. So, Bloom's taxonomy features very, very prominently in our books. We have aligned all our questions with Bloom's taxonomy in our books and even in our question bank. Right. So, then after that, why have I covered Bloom's taxonomy here? Because it aligns to the next feature in our workbooks. So we have seen recall, where they are learning the, or rather revising the concepts. Then we have worksheets where they're practicing. Then we have given more questions that align to these levels, these 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy. You will find this section in the books, and this will be subject in action. Say if it's English, it will be English in it will be language in action. If it's maths, it's maths in action. So these are subject specific, again, questions in the books, which where the questions are aligned or tagged to the different Bloom's taxonomy levels. In it starts with remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So a lot of questions that directly align with the taxonomy levels, we have specifically tagged them as well in the books. You will find this in your workbook. You will workbooks, and this is even more. These are more questions that develops their cognitive levels, right? Because they have done their worksheet questions. Now, further develop their cognitive abilities, we have given questions based on the Bloom's levels. After the additional questions on Bloom's taxonomy, we have this section called cross curricular connect. As the name suggests, cross curricular is bringing in other subjects, or connecting the subject in question with another for a more holistic learning, right? So here you will find questions linked to other subjects including arts. There are these screenshots here as to how we have done it. So this is the questions here. This cross curricular connect section is from science grade 8, right? And this is from the science book, and you can see that the questions that we have, or information that we have, the activity, or rather the activity that we have, aligns to maths and history. And the screenshot you see here is from NCERT book, and we have aligned, we have brought in the content from history, and aligned it with science here. So this space, we have utilized this space to make learning more meaningful. We've brought in other subjects so that they learn or solidify that concept by say building on the ability to connect that concept with other subjects. So you will find this section in our books. The next section that you will find in the chapter is a section called A Value for You. Again, to develop more holistic, well-rounded individuals, and moving beyond just curriculum and pedagogy, to create more well-rounded individuals, we have tried to give value-based questions, value-based activities and questions. In this section, you will find not only value-based, but activities that build on important life skills, and encourages them to know more about culture and knowledge of India. So here you will find this. It's an added section for for more for or a more well-rounded learning, where they associate a value related to the concept that is taught in the book. So this is a section called A Value for You. The next section is called Ask Your Buddy. Now, this is a peer activity carried out in pairs. So what are the advantages of, let's say, of peer activity in the classroom? Can you guys type in what are the advantages, or why should there be peer activities or buddy activities in the classroom? Can I get some responses? Why do you think students should work together or do an activity together in the classroom, let's say? Can I have some responses? To have debate or discussion, Radhika ma'am says. Shazia ma'am says it broadens their vision and they get more ideas from each other. Perfect. Yes. To increase socialism. Okay. Yes. Social interaction. Yes, absolutely. Right, so you're all on the right track. So there are different benefits, let's say, of peer activities, right? Of course, they're learning from each other. Second is it improves their social interaction. They learn to work together, and they build through that. They build on important life skills like teamwork, how to work in a team, how to debate, discuss. Yes, you're all on the right track. So this is the reason to develop this skill in them. To develop this skill in them, we have added this section. So ask your buddy, as the name suggests, these are recommended pair activities to be done in the classroom to facilitate more interaction, learning not just from teachers but from each other. So this is, and of course peer assessment, right, where they cross check each other's work. Here we encourage them to cross check each other's work and give each other feedback. Learning should not just happen from the teacher, they are also learning from each other, right? So, and we end the chapter with this section called I Can. So, I Can is our self assessment section. As you can see, all the learning outcomes in the first column, all the learning outcomes that are related to the chapter that are listed out at the beginning also, this you will find the same or similar learning outcomes here. Then we have given them section to mark their own choice. It says I can do it on my own and I can do it with help. So after learning them, after attempting the worksheets, after attempting the furthermore questions, is the concept clear to them? Have they understood it? Can they attempt questions related to those concepts on their own? Can they do it independently? Uh, and then, or it is not clear and they need help with it. So this section serves an important purpose. um, First of two important purposes. First, you can use this information, you can use this data to identify the weaker areas or the learning outcomes which are not getting fulfilled in the classroom for that particular child, or for the entire classroom rather. You can also identify some common learning outcomes that are not getting fulfilled as a whole class. So you can take this information and identify the weaker areas. And the second purpose is, after you have identified the weaker areas here or the sections that need help, you can use this information to plan your remediation. Okay, which topics need help and how you do it. So this is two important functions of this section: to identify the weaker areas, and then after identifying, remediation. What can you do for remediation? So this brings an end to the print part of our webinar, where I've taken you through all the features in our print books. Now, my colleague Aarti will now take over and take you through the our learning management system, and through some very important features that will be very useful for you in the classroom on it. So thank you so much. Aarti will now take over.
Thank you, Sareba. Good evening, everyone. I'm Aarti Malhotra. I will take you through the LMS, our digital learning platform. So I hope you are able to see my screen. So this is the login page of our LMS. So let me log in. So when I log in, it takes me to the home screen where you can see the drop down here. So you can select the grade from this drop down. So let me select grade 6 from here. Just below the drop down, you will be able to see the windows of different colors. So from here, you are able to access all the subjects of this particular grade. Right. So let me click on one grade, one subject here, science. So when I click on science, it will take me to the digital repository of this particular grade and of this particular subject. So the default screen that it takes me to is that of the concept plans. Here you can see all the concept plans listed for this particular grade and subject. So on the left hand side, you will be able to see the table of content. Here all the chapters are listed. Now next to each chapter, you will be able to see a drop down. If I click on this drop down, you will be able to navigate through the different concepts of this particular chapter. Now let me click on this chapter. So here you will be able to see the chapter plan, and here you will be able to see all the concept plans of this particular chapter. If I click on the chapter plan, you will find an overview of all the concepts that need to be dealt in this particular chapter. So you'll be able to see concept wise bifurcation in the chapter plan. Right. So if I see the concept food variety and sources, here is the duration of that particular concept. That means this concept needs to be covered in 3 periods. And here is the overview of what needs to be done in this particular concept. This lists the resources that are required to implement this particular concept in the class. Then it is followed by homework. This might not be present everywhere. This would be present wherever it is applicable. So here the homework says that the worksheet 1.1 is to be assigned as homework for this particular concept plan. So this is how the chapter plan looks like. Now let me go to the concept plan. So if I see for this particular chapter, I have 4 concept plans, which are to be completed in 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1. That is 10 periods. So the duration of each concept plan is mentioned here. Now there are 2 versions of the concept plan, the digital version and the print version. So if you see the second button here, if I click on it, I'll be able to access the digital version of the concept plan. So again, if you saw that it was to be completed in 3 periods. So here I can toggle between these 3 tabs to find the plan for that particular period. Now on the top left side corner, you'll be able to see the information button. So if I click on the information button, I'll be able to see the metadata of this particular concept plan, such as class, subject, chapter, the concepts, the skills that it will help build, the prerequisite knowledge that the students require to complete this or to start with this concept, and the learning outcomes that the learner will achieve by the end of this particular concept plan. Now on the right top side, you will be able to see a launch button, and just beside it, you will be able to see the number of assets that are mentioned here. So this means that there is one digital resource that is tagged to this particular concept plan. So there are 2 ways to launch it. Either I can launch this from this launch button. It will take me to that LR, or I can go to that particular period to which this learning resource is tagged. So I can play it from this button as well. So there is a launch button here. You can play it from this launch button. I hope this is clear. Now there is another version called print version of the concept plan. So if I click on this concept, on this print version, you will be able to print it or save it in a downloadable form. So if I click on it, I can save it and print it. Now, the second resource that we provide in our digital repository is the learning resources. So you have seen that we can access the learning resources from the concept plans, but there is another way you can play them directly from the tab learning resources. So here you will find the entire list of learning resources, that is videos, animations, games, interactivities. Every learning resource is listed here for this particular subject and grade. So if, let me say, I launch a video. So these are some standard features that you will find when I play a video or an animation. I can play or pause it.
Now, let me ask you an interesting question. What will happen if we pick up an organism from?
I can turn down its volume or turn up its volume. I can expand it to the full screen or exit the full screen, and I can even control its playback speed. So let's say if I want to reduce the playback speed so that it can be easily understood by the students, I can reduce the playback speed from here. Now we have different game templates. So this is just one of the game templates, Castle Run. So we encourage you that you can assign these as homework for the students. They can play these games at home and reinforce the concepts. So this is one of the templates. So they can now there are interactive animations as well that we provide in our digital repository. So for example, this is an interactive animation.
Test for starch. Aim to test the presence of starch in a foodstuff. Materials required: sample foodstuff, dilute iodine solution, test tube, Bunsen burner.
So
Method: take a small amount of foodstuff in a test
learner
tube.
interaction for it to play. So this is why it's an interactive animation. Now moving on to the next digital resource, that is the question bank. So we provide an exhaustive list of questions under this tab. So for each chapter, you will find a variety of questions. They could be subjective, they could be objective. You can even filter the type of questions from this filter tab here. So there are different types of questions available. They are tagged to different levels of complexity: easy, medium, and difficult. Then, just as the subject and action that you saw in the workbook, we have also classified the questions according to the Bloom's level of taxonomy. Then we provide questions from both workbook as well as additional questions. So let me attempt one question, one subjective question and one objective question. So here is one objective question. You can see that the information is provided here, the complexity level and the classification, as well as the maximum marks. Besides the question, you can also see an information button here. So if I click on this button, I'll be able to see this information for the corresponding question. Now let me attempt this question. So when I attempt this question and submit it, you will see that a summary strip appears. So for the objective type questions, I'll be able to see the maximum marks and the scored marks along with the complexity and classification. For a subjective type question, like this is a long answer question, if I attempt it, the summary strip will appear, but instead of the scored marks, because this is at the discretion of the teachers, so we have not given the scored marks, but the sample answer in the answer key. So if I click on the answer key, here you will find a sample answer that the student is required to provide in this question. Now from this question bank, you can generate the test using this test generator. So if I click on the test tab here, you will be able to create your own test using these questions. So here you can see the create test button on the top right corner. If I click on it, it will take me to the screen. So the first thing that I have to do is select the chapter from which I need to create the test. So for example, let me select chapter 1, food, where does it come from? I can name the test I have to name the test. So let's say I name it science test 3. Now I can add sections here like A, B, C, D, or any section, multiple choice, fill in the blanks. But here is a default section that you can use in the beginning. So let me use this edit section to change the name of the section. So let's say I name it section A. Then I have to enter the number of questions that I require in this chapter, in this particular section. Let's say 5. I'll save it. Then from here, I have to add the questions. So I have to select the questions from the question bank. So I use this add question button, and here I select the questions. I have to select the same number of questions that I have added in the section, edit section. So let me select 5 questions. You could also use this advanced search at the top right corner. If you need to select any particular type of question, or if you need if you need a difficult question or tag to a particular Bloom's taxonomy, so you can use this advanced search option. Now I've already selected 5 questions, so I'll use the add to section button to add these questions to my test. Now I've added the questions. I will click on this next button given at the bottom of the page. It will take me to a page with the instructions. So here, these are some sample instructions, but you could also customize them according to your needs. So these are editable. I can edit these instructions. Then I click on the button next. Here, these are some preferences, like if you want to change the test duration, you can edit it. You can, even change the number of maximum attempts that are allowed for a particular question. So these you can customize them according to your own needs, and then you can finally save the test. When you save the test, it will appear under the section under the tab test. So you can see that here the test will appear. The test that I just created will appear at the top. So if I click on the first button, I'll be able to attempt the test. Now I can even print or download this test using this button, print button. So if I click on it, I have 2 options, either group it by question order or question type and export it. When I export it, it takes me to this window and I can save it and then print it. Finally, the last icon, if you can see, this is the answer key. So when I click on this option, I'll be able to download the test with the answer key. So if I'm not sure if you are able to see it, but this is where the answer key is for this particular question. This is how it appears. The answer key for each question. Now you can even assign this test to the students in your class. You have to click here, and then this assign test button will get activated. You will have to click on it and assign it to either a group of students or even individuals. You can assign it to select individuals as well. I hope this is clear. The assign I think this is a very significant feature. This will help you to create test and save your valuable time. You can just use the questions that are provided in the question bank and generate your own tests. So can I get a thumbs up if this section is clear? I'm waiting for your responses so that I can move on. So I'm assuming that the section is clear. So next we move on to the My Book section. So here you can access the PDFs of all the workbooks. Right? So so the chapters of the workbook. So here you can access the workbooks. Now let me walk you through the PAL platform. As Sareba had already mentioned that we provide the PAL platform for the assessment as well as remediation, right? So the test generator only creates the test and the teachers have to assess, right? But here in the PAL platform, it provides the remediation on the platform itself. Now there are two ways to access the PAL platform. One is from the student account and one is from the teacher's account. Let me show how the PAL platform appears from both the accounts one by one. So first, let me show how it appears to the students. So I'm logging in from the students account. Now let me go to the home screen here and select a subject.
Uh, Hi everyone, we've just run into a small technical glitch. We'll be sharing the screen very, very soon. Please bear with us. Just give us a couple of minutes. We're sharing the screen again.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. There was a technical glitch because of which I was signed out. So I hope I'm visible and audible now. Can I take it as a yes? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Preetham sir, so much. So let me share my screen again. So I was talking about the PAL platform. So the test generator that you just saw allows you to create tests, right? But the PAL platform that we have integrated in our digital learning platform that allows the students to assess as well as it provides remediation to the students. So there are two ways to access the PAL platform. One is from the students login account. So the students can access the PAL platform to access and remediate, and the teachers can use the PAL platform and their reports to take a feedback from the reports as well as to improve the performance of the class. So we will go through the PAL feature from both the students account as well as the teachers account. So this is the students login ID from which I have logged in. So when I log in, you'll be able to see that there is a tool section here. If I click on it, I'll be able to see the PAL feature here. So let me access the PAL features. So here all the subjects are listed. If you click on any subject, you will find the assessment of all the chapters listed in that subject. So when I click on science, I'll be able to see all the assessments here. So you'll be able to see the launch button here. This means that I can start the assessment when I click on this button. So let me click on this button and start the assessment for the chapter Nutrition in Animals. So it takes me to a list of instructions and it takes a little while to load. When it loads, the start assessment button will get activated and the students can start their assessment. So every test will have a list of 15 questions that the children will have to attempt. So let's say they will attempt all these questions. So let me attempt them quickly. So as soon as I finish the test, the PAL platform will start a remediation journey. So it takes a little while to load and start the journey. So as soon as the loading and the buffering stops, I'll be able to see a chat window here. So through this chat window, the PAL platform will offer the remediation services. So first, it will inform the student about their performance. So they have scored 46.67% in this chapter and mastered 0 out of 2 concepts. So there were 2 concepts that were to be tested. They have mastered 0 out of 2 concepts. Now they will start the journey to upgrade their performance. So it will start with some videos of the of this concept, and the student will have to continue this. They will answer a list of questions and it will keep showing them some teacher-led solutions or the animations to reach so that they are able to reach the concept clarity. So they get the concept clarity, the requisite concept clarity. Now let me show you how the result. So after the completion of this remediation, it will show a report to the student. So if you're able to see, this is the report that the student will be able to see for that particular chapter. So they'll be able to observe their marks, the marks that they have scored, and their performance by the questions. So for each question, they'll be able to see if they have been able to understand the concept, or if there is any concept gap in that particular question. After that, they can also refer to the remedial or knowledge videos that are provided to address any learning gap that they see in attempting any question. So this is how the report appears to the student, right? With the concept gap and the remedial or knowledge videos. Now let's see how the report appears to the teachers. So let me log out. Now, there is one other thing. So, you can go back to the Oxford Advantage platform using this button. Now, I am logging in through the teacher's login ID. Again, I have to use the same button here, tools, to access the PAL platform. So you can review the class performance with the help of this assessment button. So if I click on it and view the report, I will get a comprehensive view of the performance of the entire class. So here you can see that there were total number of 4 students, and the number of questions that were attempted were 15. If I scroll down, I'll be able to see the performance by concept. So here you can see that 75%, that means this concept was well understood by the class rather than the other 2 concepts. I can even see the question wise performance of the entire class. So here for this particular question, I'll be able to see that there were 3 students who were able to understand the concept and attempt the question correctly. But there was one student who was not able to understand the concept, and the concept gap that the PAL platform identified was that the student was not able to differentiate between pulses versus serials. So this is how you can get the report for each question. So if I scroll down, I'll be able to see the performance, question-wise performance for each question. So this is how you can use the PAL platform to assess as well as help improve the students' performance. Just a quick question here. Have you ever used PAL platform? And if yes, uh, how did it benefit you? So can I have some responses in the chat box? First, I'll repeat the question. Have you ever used PAL platform in your classes? I think there is a lag here because I'm not able to see any responses yet. Great. Great. So, Rupali ma'am says, yes, they do use the PAL platform. How did it benefit you? Is my next question. So, did you find it beneficial, the PAL platform? Akshay sir says no. Okay. So, okay, so I'm getting a lot of responses in which I think you have not been able to use the PAL platform, but we, okay. So we strongly suggest that you encourage the students to use this PAL feature so that they're able to self assess their learning as well, because we feel that assessment is also a very important part of the teaching learning process. After the concept delivery, it is very important to gauge if the students have understood the concept. So I can see that many of you have not been able to use it, but we will definitely recommend you to use it from now on. Is there any other question that you have? Because this brings us to the end of the session. So is there any question or query that you have for us?
Yeah, if you have any questions, we would be happy to answer them to our best. Otherwise, Pritam, if you want to, if we can conclude the session, we can do it. Yeah. Can
Okay, yes,
Yes,
sure.
there is a question.
So, Ruhi ma'am, the thing is that the students will be able to see this PAL platform on their student ID. So, let me log in again from the student's ID. Let me first project my screen. So, ma'am, you'll be able to see the PAL feature if you click on this tools, which is at the right hand side. So, here, from here, you can access the PAL feature. I hope this is clear, ma'am. Ma'am, can you just give us a thumbs up so that we know that this is clear? Great. Thank you so much, ma'am. Is there any other question that we can address? So I guess, Preetham, we do not have any more questions.
Right.
Preetham, over to you.
So, thank you to all the attendees today for taking out your time and joining us for this session. I'd also like to extend my thanks to both Sariba and Aarti, sorry, um, for taking up this session and giving us wonderful insights about class 6 to 8 Oxford Advantage and the PAL platform, and also the other features of the LMS. So, just in case, for the last time, if the teachers you have any uh, questions, please do drop a quick yes, no, or a question on the chat box, or we can call it a day. So thank you so much, teachers. While you're leaving, while we end this session, please do remember to fill up the feedback form. The feedback form will come in automatically, and you'll have to fill it up. Once you fill the feedback form, you will be able to get the certificates. If you do not, please get in touch with someone from the academic excellence team, or just post a question on the WhatsApp groups that you have, and we'll take care of it. So thank you so much. Thank you every one of you for being present here. Have a very good evening. Thank you. Bye.